Walmart because I was like 2 months out for leaving for basic training. But also it's because I had got hired on at Amazon at the fulfillment center that was just built in our area. So I wanted to switch to Amazon so I can save up a few checks before leaving. Paying their holiday pay was like $13-18 an hour, and if you work third shift it was bumped up. Me and CJ both were night shift because he was in between jobs too, and that was short-lived because we both hated it there. After the holiday, everything went to shit. They started firing people left and right. The pay went back down to like $16 an hour. It's just not a fun place to work. Fulfillment centers are fucking horrible. When you go in, it's like you going into prison because you go in, can't have any electronics on, barely any jewelry, none of that shit. I was a sewer, so I would have to take the product and put them in the bin for the robots to take, and they want you to do that in a certain amount of time. Like you have so many seconds to scan stuff and put them up, and it's like that would be okay if everything was around the same size and shape and stuff, but it's Amazon. You can order anything off Amazon. So 1 minute I'll probably have a pack of magnets, and then I turn around, they have a big ass box of diapers. Like what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? So my times were always like average. I wasn't the fastest, I was the slowest, but it was just so draining. I was eventually fired from there because I just got to a point where I just didn't give a fuck anymore. I was just ready to leave for basic training. That was it. And I had like 2 weeks before I was leaving when I got fired, so that was perfect. I had a 2-week break. So Amazon, I give a 0 out of 10. Please don't ever work at Amazon fulfillment center, any of them. Please don't. I enlisted into the military and I entered as an E2 because I did have some college, and then I signed up for 6 years instead of 4 like a dumbass, so that boosts you up to E3 once you get done with tech school. I went in as an administration specialist, aka commander secretary, aka doing all the jobs that nobody else wants to do. Basically a lot of paperwork, a lot of form writing and checking, proofreading. I was able to work at the official mail center, so it's sort of like the post office, but it's more catered to the units and installations on base, whereas the post office is focused on like residential most of the time. So we worked along with the post office. Our main targets were like the units. So if you ordered something for the unit, we'll be delivering it for you. I also worked as commander secretary, which is a huge part of my job. You're in charge of the commander, superintendents, first sergeants, calendars, their schedule. Usually they're pretty good about their own shit, but like if somebody calls like, hey, I need to meet with the first sergeant, then you look on their calendar, schedule a meeting, all that stuff. You're just at their beck and call. So if they need you to come in early or stay later or anything, you're at their whim. There's no set hours. They like to say 7 to 4:30, but it's the damn military. Okay, you do whatever the hell they tell you to do. I was also a, what do you call it, administrative legal assistant, aka they wanted me to be a paralegal, but they couldn't really say that because I wasn't trained as a paralegal, so they made up a damn title for me so they could put me in a position of a paralegal. So I did that for like a year and a half. Hated it. The job was okay. I liked the paralegal work. I just didn't like my coworkers. Then I moved over doing my regular job again, and then I promoted to E5, staff sergeant. Unexpectedly, I was not trying to become a sergeant. I was trying to get the hell out as soon as possible. It became the non-commissioned officer in charge of my section, so commander support staff. That was amazing, and I left and separated out from that position. The Air Force wasn't the worst job I've had. Well, compared to Amazon, no, I wanted to work. It was the second worst. I came out broken as hell. I am a veteran with disabilities. I have ankle issues. I have all kind of issues. It's because they work you to the bone, literally. Like the way you do physical training and stuff like that, it really takes a toll on your body to the point where now I can't run unless I want to be fucked up the next day. a lot of people go into it with a career mindset, but it's like you can't do that because military, they'll kick you out for any reason. I knew I was going in, I was just gonna do one enlistment and get out, but even that one enlistment takes a toll on you. It's a lot. And if you are going to join the Air Force or any other branch, I know people say join the Air Force is the best branch. Air Force is still military, so you may get the best of the best, but at the end of the day, you still are a service member and you're susceptible to any and everything else that other branches are susceptible to. So just do your research, be okay with coming out disabled, be okay with coming out with severe mental health issues, be okay with your time is not your own, your life is not your own. You belong to the government once you join the military, so you have to be okay with that. And just know that going in. So next, I went into the Air Force Reserve because I earned my bachelor's degree while I was active duty. A lot of people are unable to do that, but due to my job and the commanders I had that pushed me to go ahead and go to school while I was in, I was able to complete my bachelor's degree. I was done by my 5-year mark of my enlistment, and I knew I wanted to go on and get my master's degree, but I didn't want to do that active duty. I wanted to go to grad school full time. So I put in to leave active duty early for school purposes. And of course, Big Air Force was like, no, bitch, that's not, no, we're not doing that. Then they were like, but you can palace chase, meaning I can leave active duty and go to the reserve or National Guard and finish out my enlistment plus an additional 2 years, I think, on top of that. I was like, okay, I'll still able to do my same job, but I absolutely hate the reserve. At least my unit. Reserve is totally different from active duty, not in a good way. Yes, you only deal with it for 1 weekend out of the month, but even that 1 weekend could be too much depending on who you're working with. Everything they warn you about on active duty side is tenfold on the reserve side, because a lot of reservists don't give a fuck about military etiquette or none of that shit. So just imagine a civilian in uniform. That's literally what they call a citizen airman. That is not a good thing. That is not good, because I came over with my active duty mindset and they don't do well with that, and it's like, you gotta give me some time to transition out of that. It's like, no. Yeah, it's just a clusterfuck. So either you stay active duty or you go into the reserves or guard from the jump. Being in the Air Force Reserve has been the worst, absolute worst job I've had. I wish I would have just finished out my active duty contract and then went to grad school, because at least I'll be done with the military fully and I have to worry about it. I can't wait to be done with the reserve. That's all I'm saying on that. All right, now we're coming on to my last 2 jobs I've had. These were internships. So the first job, I didn't get paid for it all. It was more, I needed them for my first year master's degree hours. It was at a nursing home. That's why I learned so much about social work, because before getting into social work, I had no fucking clue. I just knew I wanted to do something in the mental health realm. So working at this nursing facility really opened my eyes up to things. And I was like, there was a lot of discharge planning. So when somebody came to the nursing home for physical therapy or rehabilitation services, it was part of my job to make sure they had a safe discharge from the facility. So whether they were going home or going to a different nursing facility, you know, just making sure that process is safe, making sure that discharge is appropriate. And there was also a lot of motivational interviewing, doing assessment, just making sure they're doing okay mentally, and combining that with their medical issues and presenting, you know, those cases in the staff meetings that we would have every morning. That was my introduction to medical social work. I would give that a 6 out of 10. And the only reason why I give it a 6 is because my supervisor actually quit halfway during my placement there, which she had told us before she even took on interns, like, hey, I'm already on the fence about leaving this facility, but she wanted interns to help with the workload and stuff, but it got to be too much. And then just the administrator of that facility, he was a privileged white male, and he just overlooked a lot of stuff. There was a lot of racism, a lot of isms going on that shouldn't have been, that I had to call out to him I'll just put in positions where I'm not getting paid at all, let alone enough to be doing this shit. Now, I don't mind working at a nursing home. It just wouldn't be that one. My final internship was as a hospital social worker. I was at a VA hospital, same hospital I get treatment at, so that was kind of awkward. But that's always been my main goal, to work at a VA hospital, be helping other veterans. And so I was fortunate enough to get my advanced internship at a VA hospital. It was home-based primary care. So we would travel to veterans' homes and do social work assessments when they entered the program, and then did case management from that point on. And I really enjoyed it. The only thing was, the hospital is like an hour and 15-20 minutes depending on traffic away from where I live. And then when we get there, you actually have to travel within like, was it a 50-mile radius? So like in the surrounding areas we had to travel. So it's like I could be in the car upwards of like 5 hours a day, which isn't a problem, but it was like if I worked like 10 to 15, like 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes away on top of traveling, that would have been a lot better than traveling an hour and some change, then having to travel to go visit people. My supervisor, she was amazing. It was just, I had to like explain a lot of micro and macro aggressions to her. I had to like explain and prepare her, like, look, there's gonna be a time where some racist situations happen, because most of the people in our department were white or white passing, and I was the only black person there. So I was letting her know, hey, it's gonna be a situation where something's gonna be said, it's gonna be inappropriate as shit. I'm just letting you know, because I experience this shit every day. You as a white woman, you hear about it, you read it, but you're actually gonna experience this shit with me. And she did not believe me for the longest. I was like, watch. And it happened. And I don't think she was prepared for it. Like, yeah, you thought I was playing. I was not playing with your ass, okay? So it was a lot of educating on my experiences as a black woman and how they differ from hers. I just appreciate her being open and, you know, willing to learn and not try to use her privilege or oppression to try to like overshadow mine. You know, I don't know the exact term for it, but sometimes white people, they just be oblivious to shit and don't want to acknowledge horrible shit that happens to black people and people of color. She was always like, let me know, I want to know like everything. If you felt like something didn't go right, I didn't say something appropriately or shit like that, she was always like, let me know, to the point where it's like, all right, I'll let you know, damn. But it was just her, you know, like trying to make me feel safe and comfortable and coming to her with these things. Yes, I would do that if it wasn't home-based. If it was just regular primary care, cool. 9 out of 10. Okay. I did get paid for that internship. It was like $11 an hour, and I worked like 24 hours a week. So not bad. Currently, I am unemployed. I'm taking a break in between school and all this stuff just to get my mind together, because going to school and doing internships on top of all the school work that you have to do, it's a lot. It is a lot. And I went through burnout at least once every semester for 2 years. So I told myself I was going to take at least a month off after graduating. So yeah, that's where we are now. So that is all the jobs I've had my whole fucking career. I started working a senior year in high school. So what, I was 17 and I just turned 30. So yeah. I will keep y'all updated on the next job that I get.